let's talk divorced spouse benefits. All right, so Social Security does pay divorced spouse benefits. Of course, there are requirements that have to be met. Now, in order for your ex spouse to receive benefits on your record, your marriage has to have lasted at least 10 years. So, 10-year duration of marriage. You have to have been divorced for at least 2 years at the time of application. Your ex spouse has to be at least age 62. You have to be at least age 62. So you both got to be at least age 62. Your ex spouse cannot be currently married, right? So your ex spouse has to be unmarried at the time of application. Now, if that ex spouse begins receiving the benefits and they remarry, the benefit stops. That's a whole story in and of itself because there is no immediate way for Social Security to find out that someone has remarried. What often happens is, you know, someone tells, but they usually don't tell until later down the line, and then there's an overpayment created. So if you are the ex spouse who happens to be receiving on someone's record, if you remarry, just let Social Security know and avoid that, overpayment and possible fraud issues. All right. So now, so has to be unmarried. The ex spouse is going to be entitled to 50% of the number holder's unreduced benefit reduced for their age. Okay, so just as your benefit is reduced if you file prior to your full retirement age for your own retirement benefit, if an ex-spouse files for those divorced spousal benefits prior to their full retirement age, that benefit is going to be reduced. Okay, your ex-spouse, if entitled to any benefits on their own record, they have to file for those either at the same time or before filing for the divorced spousal benefits. So they have to file for their own benefits, and they're not going to be entitled to any additional benefits on your record unless their own unreduced benefit is less than half of your unreduced benefit. So oftentimes it's kind of hard for that ex-spouse to know what that number holder's unreduced benefit is because, they may not have talked or, be in contact or have any information on one another. Within the application, like when you're filing for your own Social Security retirement benefit, one of the questions in the application path is, tell us about your marriages. Did you have any marriage that lasted at least 10 years or ended in death? And the reason for that is so that Social Security can get those leads. If you had a marriage that lasted at least 10 years and you're divorced, then there's a lead that there may be some divorced spouse benefits that Social Security needs to look into for you. If the marriage, of course, ended in death, then there's the possibility of survivor benefits. So you want to make sure, especially if you're filing online for the benefit, for your own benefit, that you provide that information because it also protects you at that time for the divorced spousal benefit. So make sure you put any marriages that you may have had that lasted at least 10 years or ended in death. So again, let's run through them again right quick. Have to be married at least 10 years, have to be divorced for at least 2 years. You both have to be at least age 62. Going to be entitled to 50% of the number holder's unreduced benefit, reduced for age, and not going to be entitled to any additional benefits on the number holder's record unless their own unreduced benefit is less than half of the number holder's unreduced benefit. Now, one of the things that kind of separates, I guess, the divorced spouse benefit from the current spousal benefit is that the ex-spouse or the divorced spouse does not have to wait for the number holder to file for benefits on their record. A current spouse cannot receive benefits on their spouse's record until that spouse files, but a divorced spouse does not have to wait for that number holder to file. You just both have to be at least age 62. So you could have an ex-spouse and you know that your overall earnings were substantially lower than theirs, so there is that possibility for the divorced spousal benefit. They turn 62 next week. You're already 62. You either file that application online or contact Social Security and set up that appointment to file for the benefit. You do have to provide a copy of your marriage certificate and divorce decree, right? Social Security has to see a certified copy of your marriage certificate and your divorce decree, because they have to make sure that that 10-year duration of marriage has been met and that you have been divorced for at least the 2 years. Now, when I was out taking applications in my early on in my career, and when I was doing the presentations, I would always get asked, what if we put in as a stipulation in our divorce that, they will not get any of my Social Security? That means absolutely nothing to Social Security. If that ex-spouse applies for the benefit and they meet the requirements, what's in your divorce decree makes no difference. They're still going to get the benefit. All right. There can be multiple divorced spouses eligible on one record. So if there were multiple 10-year duration marriages and they all meet the requirement, they would all be eligible for whatever they're entitled to. The official title of the benefit is the independently entitled divorced spouse. So what's paid to divorced spouses or ex-spouses is not going to, one, affect your benefit, and two, it's not going to affect the benefit that your current spouse nor any children could be eligible to receive on your record. They are paid out of a separate pot of monies, right? So every Social Security retirement benefit has what's called a family maximum, and that is the total amount that can be paid on the record, including what's paid to the number holder. The divorced spouse is paid outside of that family maximum, so it's not going to affect your household. It's not going to affect the benefit that your household could receive. Okay. Let me know if this was something you already knew. Also, let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel for more information. Like this video, share it, and we'll talk next week.